Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Fed News for June 18th, 2024 edition. As you can see, the uh, front poster board has changed drastically. A lot of brands are actually gone, and I will be explaining what that is in the next slide. So, in talks currently, no one is in talks right now. However, NXT has returned from the minor league. WCW is closed. WWE is closed. NWA has changed back to the classic superstars only. ECW is also closed, and IWGP has changed its roster as well. It'll now be represented by the FTC figures. Um, and now, so you're gonna have WWF still, which is the Ultimate only brand. NXT will now just be the Elite Plus. Then you have UWF, which is Customs. AEW is still Jazzware, and same with Ring of Honor, still Jazzware. Impact will now be Elite, but they also will include the Impact titles as well as the AAA titles. And the NWA will now be back to Classic Superstars. And again, IWGP is now the FTC brand, and GHC is still the custom poor condition figures. These are the figures that basically are of poor quality, poor paint, poor parts, almost going to break on you. So they're not really. I decided, until I sell them off, they're still on the Macari site. They're still for sale and whatnot, but they're basically the GCW of the wrestling figure brands. So there was a match this week on Monday Night Raw as Heat took place with Money Incorporated defeating Kevin, Von Erich, Bossman, Valentine, and Honky Tonk Man by pinfall. The main event sees Zeus defeat Rico by pinfall. Over on Monday Night Raw, Superstar Billy Graham defeats Val Venus by pinfall, non-title match. Steve Blackman defeats Owen Hart by pinfall, again, a non-title match. And Mankind defeats Roddy Piper by submission. And Razor Ramon defeat Kerry Von Erich by pinfall. The main event would see Stone Cold Steve Austin and Psycho Sid, who've been forced to team up to defeat Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, who also were forced to team up, as both those respective teams will face each other at the next pay-per-view. Now, to go into it before, basically what happened was my schedule changed. I don't have as much time to do that many rosters. Plus, I kind of was not feeling burnt out, but just feeling kind of like I'm not putting forth a good effort. And two, if I build brands for everybody, then nobody's, there's no debuts, there's no, hey, he's only here for a year, let's see what happens 1 year, hey, he's here for 2 or 3 years. So it is unfortunate because obviously other people who originally were in the original draft got shafted as they, got released from their quote contracts, if you will. But they will be making appearances. I still will do a monthly, some sort of big, large event, either title turmoil or title extravaganza, where a lot of other belts will still be out there on the quote indie circuit, and I'll still be doing like World War III. I'll still be doing like the Master of the Ring tournaments. I just won't isolate it to only the WWF brand. I will have just like independent events. So Matt Hardy, because he won World War III previously, and then he was moved over to the to the WWE roster to start his career, he'll get first dibs when it comes time to put somebody in the WWF because he did win that prestigious right of those 60 superstars. So that's how it's going to kind of happen. When people get contracts are up, I'll look through the point system. It's going to be drawn kind of not necessarily randomly, but like you have to be in a ranking system. So depending on where you're at in the 100 compared to where, or if you win a major event, you get a guaranteed shot. So moving on to AEW this week, company change is underway again. I'm keeping the AEW and the Ring of Honor guys. Of course, very upset that Alex Reynolds is, and I'm breaking the kayfabe quote here, but very upset that Alex Reynolds is behind a 1 of 5,000. But I'll have to buy in him eventually. I'm getting Ethan Page. I saw the prototype for him as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make the rosters equal. All the Ring of Honor titles came in. Of course, you still have to wonder where the Briscoe brothers are. Death Triangle and their 6-man tag belts. So I did get custom belts of people and whatnot, but I kind of want to see actual, released ones if they do make released ones. But they're taking a week off each. They'll be on here next time with the brand new roster. Champions stand on the same brands though. So now over on NXT, it was the minor league last week. It is now back to this NXT. And we brought back the NXT North American Championship, the Cruiserweight, and the World Championship. Of course, World Championship, of course, was vacated after Karrion Kross and Ricochet both left to pursue the Ultimate contract, which still waiting to see them debut or hear about their tryout and how it went. Anyway, Dominic Mysterio defeated Bronson Reed, Rick Steiner, and Rikishi to regain the North American Championship. He actually won this and then was basically forced to vacate it when it was decided to be switched over to the Ultimate brand, only to come back and him to win it again. Same with Santos Escobar. Defeats Eli Dragunov and Mustafa Ali to win the Cruiserweight title for a second time. And then in the main event, Karrion Kross defeats Omos, MVP, and Damian Priest by pinfall to become the now current NXT champion. Over on Impact now, they've partnered up with AAA. AAA is no longer its own entity, is now just a subsidy of Impact. So the belts will now take place there. And this week was all about crowning champions of the AAA variety. So Kalisto defeated Tensai, Tyler Bates, Pete Dunne, and Sin Cara in a 5-way for the Gift of the Gods Championship, which will allow him to cash that in towards a championship shot for the AAA Mega Champion. Lindsay Dorado and Graham Metalik defeated AOP in an upset to win the AEW Tag Team Champion, or AEW AAA Tag Team Championships. And the main event would see Mark Henry defeat Umaga by pinfall to become the AAA Mega Champion. Nothing for UWF this week. However, they did welcome the former IWGP people, so Wrath and the IWGP former champion who's vacated the title, Snitsky, and Vito, who just won the United States belt. So it'll be interesting to see how the UWF, the Universal Wrestling Federation, will meet or will interact with the other brands. NWA, nothing to show this week as well as TNA, or the American Wrestling Association, which actually, again, will not start till next year and has to have 8 people. Currently, there are plans for 4 more to sign on. And the World Wrestling Council, of course, will not be taking place starting until next year. It'll be a 1-match month card, just like you'll see random indie event reportings for other guys not under the contracts. And of course, GCW as well will not start until next year as well, as it's being finalized if I'm going to continue to find more people to fill that roster, or if that roster is just going to kind of stay as is. And that's it for this week. Like I said, not too exciting. Obviously, these are done well in advance. So this week they're going to be revealing the new Mattel figures, which means potentially new people to add to the rosters. And again, if you haven't followed, I saw some people were following this. If you're upset that one brand is gone or something like that, I did it just because that way I can add more intricacy back into just one Ultimate brand instead of having like 5 or 6 and stretching my time. The reason why it happened basically was I got a giant promotion at my job, but it requires me to not have as much free time as I had when I'm at this job. So I just don't have the time I used to have to sit down with 7 or 8, 9, 10 brands and try to produce a weekly video. Of course, yeah, I'm far ahead, but it would catch up to me pretty quickly. So I'm gonna cut it back down to about 4 or 5. That should be doable within the time limit I have now. And again, it's just because they threw more money at me to spend more time and have to do a little more activity. So plus also with me doing the What's the Formula bid, if you follow my channel, I do the What's the Formula. I've still got 200 people that I'm still trying to figure out how to build, looking into the formulas if it's possible. Like I'm looking at how to build Super Crazy, or guys that already have a shirt torso attached with the butterfly joints. But that's for a different channel. This was Fed News. Next week we'll go back to just quote KAYFABE everything and act like it's a real legit thing. I just wanted to break it down as you're wondering why so many brands just disappeared 1 week after the brand new picture showed up, or 2 weeks till brand new picture showed up. It's just because I decided, hey, let's make these quote contracts with WWF more, or the WWF guys a little more special, because they've only got so much time to get to the world title or something like that before they go into the indie circuit, or they go into retirement for a while and maybe come back a year or 2 later down the road. And it just allows me to choose from so many more. When you have 200 plus Ultimates, it's going to allow for not burnout where I'm doing the same people over and over again. Till next time.